Hello YouTube, my name is Alexandre Roth and I'm a student in natural science at Montmorency College in Quebec, Canada. I'm not an expert in the topic of refugees, but I just read a shocking novel written by Alan Gratz and called Refugee, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Did you know that around the world, according to a 2015 research, 24 people are forced to leave their home every minute? Refugee crises mark the last centuries. There are many events that force people to leave their home. It could be, for example, war, poverty, famine, and there are many other reasons. The historical and geographical contexts are important to understand what refugees are truly living. And Alan Gratz shows this perfectly in his novel Refugee, where the setting has a major impact on the psychological characteristics and action of the characters, and helps the reader clearly understand the difficult life of a refugee. Joseph, Isabelle, and Mahmoud, the three protagonists of the book, are all strongly impacted by the setting of the story. Firstly, I'm going to talk to you about Joseph, who is a Jewish boy who lives in Germany in 1938, just before the World War II, and as Nazis are putting Jews in concentration camp and anti-Semitism is omnipresent. During the whole book, Joseph wants to become a man. This need to become an adult begins with Kristallnacht, a real event that took place in the night of November 9th to November 10th, 1938, when hundreds of Jews were killed and thousands of them were sent to concentration camps. It's clear that the impatience to become an adult is created by the setting. The historical and geographical context are forcing Joseph to be the more mature possible and to survive the hostile environment he finds himself in. He has to be strong, and becoming a man is the first step to do that. So, the bar mitzvah, which is the point where he officially becomes a man, is very important in the story. We can also observe the internal setting that takes place in Joseph's mind. The young boy is shocked when he first sees his father after the concentration camp. So I'm gonna quote from the book at page 36. It was him. The shabby man who had lurched from the shadows like an escape from a mental asylum was Joseph's father, Aaron Lando. So his father, the leader of the family, the person who was a strong presence in the house, who will be there to protect him and his family, is now described as a shabby man. So now that his father is not there to be the strong presence in the house, Joseph has to replace him, and he has to become a man real quick to protect his family. So we all know the sense of why Joseph wants to become a man, and the context he finds himself in is forging him and made him evolve as the story unfolds. Enough with Joseph. Now I'm going to talk to you about Isabel, who is a Cuban girl who lives in Cuba in the 90s. So after the collapse of the USSR in 1991, Cuba was in a very bad situation because the USSR was providing them with food, water, or many other important things. And now that the USSR isn't there to help them anymore, Cuba is coping with major problems such as poverty, famine, etc. So it was very bad living conditions, and that forced Isabel to evolve in the story, to become more mature, and like Joseph, in kind of way, to become an adult, to help our family escape the country and go search for a better life. So, for example, she sell a trumpet to have money to buy gas, and then in kind of way, she forced our family to escape the country so that they would get to the USA, to get to freedom, and to get to a better life. So she is only 11 years old and she is leading her family in a better life. Uh, Also, the cultural context of Cuba with the importance of music has an impact on Isabel's thoughts. We see many times in the novel that she compares her experience around the water, traveling to the United States as a song. So she compares her traumatic experience as a song. And I'm going to quote a citation about that on page 203. Again, Isabel thought about their journey as a song. Now I'm gonna talk to you about Mahmoud, a Syrian boy who lives in Aleppo in the 2015 during the Syrian civil war. So again, the setting of the story really impacts this young boy. The civil war is turning normal neighborhoods as horrible battlefields where houses are thrown to ashes and thousands of people are killed. The city of Aleppo, like I said, where Mahmoud lived, is a living nightmare, and the young boy is trying to be invisible to survive this hostile environment. That's the way he found to survive, to be invisible and to have no friend, and he doesn't want to have any friend because it in his head it jeopardizes this survival thing. So the geological and historical context are also turning Mahmoud into a man. He is the one who saved his mother, and he also helped his family a lot in the journey. For example, when he got a taxi to drive them around the continent, and he is just 12 years old, but he's acting like a strong father would do it, and it's incredible to see how the story made him evolve, the setting made him evolve, the geological and historical context he was in made him evolve. To conclude, the author forges his characters based on the setting of the story to help us understand, readers, the challenge of a refugee's life. The readers of Gratz's novel Refugee should be focused by the importance of the setting of the story on the three protagonists, Joseph, Isabelle, and Mahmoud, since it's forging them with the historical and geographical context. By looking for the impacts of the setting on the protagonist, the reader will fully understand the three stories and we will have a better appreciation of Gratz's stories. Thank you, YouTube, and see you soon.